reaches back with both hands there, grabs a lady, and what does she do? Slings them, one through the inside, one through the outside. Janet doesn't know where to go. That's a winner.
This one has been pressed from the very get-go as we see the men going to the starting line. As far as I'm concerned right now, for my money, the player of the game without a doubt has been Stacy Blitz of the California Quakes, doing an absolute phenomenal job putting points on the board. She's showing us some finesse not seen out of her in a long, long time. Really came up in the absence of the leadership of Sean Atkinson. And Dan Giovanni sent high into the rail by number 12 by Anthony Santiago of the California Quakes. You can't help but wonder with the Quakes and the Enforcers. The Quakes, although right now are in the lead, could this be the last game for Sean Atkinson? Big Tim Washington now dealing with Santiago. Anthony Santiago got out of speed, but he's still going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to try and get the big guy out of Manhattan. Washington 6'3", 210. Santiago 5'10", 168. There exactly is the result. Anthony Santiago, let me introduce you to the railing, courtesy of Tim Washington. Now Sean Atkinson, again the man without a country, trying to set up the back attack. Finally gets the lead and flips over Big Tim Washington. When did you ever think you'd see that move?
Well, I don't think a crane can lift Big Tim Washington, and you said Stacy Blitz was a player of your game. Ken, I got to give player of the game status to Sean Atkinson. He is trying everything under the sun to try to convince his teammates that he is a California Quake, that he is true blue, that he is here to make a difference. He has laid it all on the line, and his teammates refuse to play with Sean Atkinson. Shame on the California Quakes.
Right now they are indeed playing with almost short-handed. Atkinson, a man without a country. By the way, we have had 5 straight scoreless jams. The New York Enforcers have been unable to get any kind of offense generated in this game against the Quakes. I'll bet it is a low-scoring game. And now Mark James is sandwiched between Dan Giovanni and Fred Eichhorn. And again, James is able to get by Eichhorn, but Dan Giovanni, and now a great move by James, and finally coming up to give him some help. This is Gary Lockley. Suddenly we have all 4 jammers out, something we haven't seen in this game in quite some time. We'll see if it results in some offensive scoring. That again has been a curse for the New York Enforcers. Mark D'Amato back, allowed both his jammers to go by, and dropped one of the Quake jammers. Now he dropped Lockley as well. So it's up to Eichhorn and Giovanni, and out and over the railing goes one of the Quakes. Both Giovanni and Eichhorn go by and pick up a point apiece to pull the Enforcers to within 1.
And again, we're seeing typical 5-borough lineup action led by that man, Mark D'Amato, pardon me. Mark D'Amato setting the pace. We all talk about it ain't pretty, it ain't beautiful, it's not smooth, it ain't the kind of play that the Bod Squad plays, but the California Quake men don't get it done when they totally refuse to play with their teammate, Sean Atkinson.
Looks like Rusty Montgomery nursing an injury as he went down on that play. And, buddy, I don't know what more Sean Atkinson could do. He has already put his entire career on the line. He has been a one-man gang against the New York Enforcers, almost single-handedly shutting them out for most of the period. He really is just, you almost have to feel for him.
Well, I'll tell you what, I do feel for him, but I also see the struggle here, and it is the work. The Enforcers are intimidating the heck out of this Quake team, the small guys. Sean is coming back, but I'm still going to lay with my son's team.
And the Quakes needing some offense turn to their 2 youngsters, Santiago and Sloppy. And down goes Giovanni, courtesy of Atkinson. The Quakes pull down the entire pack, and these 2 youngsters are still going out. Down goes Brian Gamble, Santiago and Sloppy. And look at this, high five! High five, at least the youngsters are behind Sean Atkinson.
Well, all of a sudden, they do play shot with Sean Atkinson. We haven't seen a play set up with Sean Atkinson. He's been a one-man band. The white pony and the low ladder get it done with Sean Atkinson.
Sean Atkinson at least reunited with Santiago and Sloppy. He's obviously trying to engage Rusty Montgomery in conversation. So far, Montgomery having no part of it. But certainly the big story has been the play of the Quakes. In the last 7 jams, the New York Enforcer men and women have combined for only 3 points. But right now, you've got Eichhorn and John Morrissey out on their own as they send the Quake jammer out into the rail. This is the opportunity. New York has had an offensive drought, in fact, for a number of games, but it's been quite a while since the Enforcers have had two jammers out unchallenged. Look at it. Take a look at the Wall Street. The lift by the New York Enforcers allows both Eichhorn and Morrissey to go by. A perfectly executed lift. And suddenly, the New York Enforcers out of nowhere put 10 points on the board.
And Brian Gamble going after, I believe that's Chad Vaughn, if I'm not mistaken. But Ken, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but time and time again, the New York Enforcers late in the closing moments get it done. Morrissey, they get it done. John Morrissey, Fred Eichhorn score points. Unbelievable. These guys come to play when it counts.
Sean Atkinson has to be beside himself. Time is running out. Remember, Atkinson's career is on the line. He stated if the Quakes don't win this, as Sloppy gets on his white pony, what is he thinking? And the Quakes, I said they could be in trouble. The New York Enforcers setting up the patent in Wall Street. Atkinson and Montgomery back. One tries to go up, now the other. No success whatsoever. They're trying it again. You've got Atkinson is calling up. Montgomery and Atkinson, what are they going to do? Here comes Sloppy. It's Atkinson and Montgomery. Up and over goes Sloppy. I can't believe it. He picks up 5 points. The Quakes win it.
Even Buddy Atkinson Sr.'s excited. Buddy Atkinson Jr. is excited. The Quakes have won the game. Sean Atkinson has brought his team back, kid.
The most unlikely of duos, Atkinson and Montgomery. Whatever Sean Atkinson said to Montgomery obviously brought it back into the fold. Richard Brown and DeMarc D'Amato are livid at Rusty Montgomery. And look at the Bod Squad celebrate.
Well, the Bod Squad got it done early, Ken. Sean Atkinson was finally, in the last closing moments, able to be brought back into the fray. They win. The Quakes win.
The final score of the California Quakes, 23. The New York Enforcers, 19. The Quakes pull it out with a big 5-point final jam. And Hawk, we talked about Rusty Montgomery being the wild card. He became the trump card.
Well, but at halftime even, as of halftime, we thought it might be different. We saw the big eliminator by D'Amato to Atkinson. Rusty Montgomery nowhere to be found. But in the end, not only was it the wild card became the trump card, it was a royal flush for the California Quakes.
And buddy, you've got to be relieved. For the time being, your offspring will remain captain of the California Quakes.
Absolutely, and he did what he said he was going to do. He really did bring them back together and knock them out.
If can't take it, he does it indeed. Broadway, Danny Wolf is standing by with the Quakes. Danny?
It's like the last scene in the movie Grease. The gang's all together again. Sean, you guaranteed victory. You said if the Quakes didn't win, you were going to quit. I guess you ain't going anywhere.
No way. I tell you what, this man hurt his arm. I didn't think he was going to come back for me, and all of a sudden, there he was. He came out on the track, and when you cut this man, he bleeds blue.
Oh, Don!